I'm thrilled that you're here. I want to dive into our first question, because our listeners want to know. They write us all the time. They ask us questions of such. There's no better person to answer. Rhode Island faces the lowest inventory that we've seen since the pandemic. I mean, I just pulled the multi-listing service, numbers which show there's only 684 single-family homes on the market right now, when there should be roughly 3 to 4,000. So, what specific measures do you propose to address this and enhance our housing supply in the state?
So all very sobering, but very true numbers that you quoted. And sadly, that is the case. In addition to what you told me, we are dead last in the country with new housing production, issuance of building permits. We're dead last in the country. And we've been that way for the last 2 years. So the legislative package that you talked about is a bunch of little steps along the way to try to help increase inventory, to make it easier to build, and also to unmerge some lots that have been merged. We have a housing crisis, as you say, as you said, and it affects the whole gamut of the economy, from a workforce development, from young people coming out of college, can't afford, never mind student debt, they can't afford a home. They have to go other parts of the country where there's a bigger supply and better pricing for them. And that's where the companies are going. Companies need employees, and they're going where the employees are. And we're pricing our younger generation out of Rhode Island. We've passed a series of bills to increase production on every single level of housing. We need more housing at the market level, which is where you and a lot of your listeners concentrate, but we need more workforce housing, more affordable housing, more low-income housing, and then we have a homeless population crisis that needs to be addressed. So the bills run the whole gamut. Most of the bills, the most important ones, went into effect less than 30 days ago. So I think you'll see hopefully some benefits as the year progresses. And one of the biggest challenges that doesn't get a lot of press is the unmerging. There's a process now for people who have small lots that are included in the purchase of their homes or next door to them, that towns have merged them to control growth. And that was great in the 70s, maybe. There's a lot of restrictions from DEM, from infrastructure, from sewers, water. There's so many things that go into building a house. So hopefully these bills will have a dramatic effect and increase that. We also give density bonus for new construction. We allow somebody, if you're going to build on a parcel of land that right now currently could have 10 units, we're going to allow them to put 13, 14, 15 units more in addition to that, as long as some of those units are affordable. So we create more inventory. But what the bills is destined to do is to create more production, make it easier for people to build. Instead of going to a 3 hearing process, we now shorten that to 2 in a lot of cases. The bills are targeted to allow the private sector, the builders of Rhode Island, to build more homes, people who own homes with some extra land, to create an ADU. Now, the ADU bill passed the House last year. It's currently going to pass shortly this year, and will go over to the Senate with a lot more push behind the ADUs. And what an ADU is, so your listeners know, is an accessory dwelling unit. What that means is an in-law apartment. If you look around the country, they have had significant positive impact with the easing of accessory dwelling units. Some people call them in-laws, some people call them granny flats. It is the number one priority of AARP. And it is also the number one priority of the Working Families Party of Rhode Island, which is working very hard on a bunch of housing initiatives. We need to move the needle on this. This will create an opportunity so people can stay in home, so no one's forced into a nursing home. They can live at home or adjacent to their home or their children's home. It also creates an opportunity for young people who want to have a little bit of independence but can't afford a home. They can convert a garage into an ADU apartment, or build one in their parents' backyard or side yard. The reality is it will help a lot of people in Rhode Island. So people ask me, we haven't talked about that in the show at the moment, but pricing is through the roof. And I'm concerned because I know interest rates are high right now. I know there's a conventional wisdom thinks they're going to come down later in this year because it's an election year. That may well be the case, but the reality is when that happens, you're going to see more of, when the interest rates come down, you're going to see more of a price increase. Exactly, because now they've got supply on the market. There are a bunch of buyers waiting. As the interest rates come down, they can afford more homes. So that's a concern. And the only way that I have studied this, and these committees have studied it, and the only way I believe is to control pricing is to increase inventory. The reality is the only way you increase this problem is to increase supply. That's the answer, because the demand seems to be never ending. It's just not also about single family homes. One of the bills is called conversion. And what it allows is to take old factories and makes it easier to convert them into single family homes or lofts or condominiums or apartments, whether it's the old Ann and Hope in Cumberland or whether the old Pawtucket Memorial Hospital. Both of those are more than amply suited for housing, whether it's a mill in West Warwick or the Pontiac Mills in Warwick. There's ample opportunity. We want to make those easier. So the cities and towns will still have input into those developments, but we'll make it easier so somebody coming in can look at that and say, gee, this is easier. The biggest impediment to conversions, we call it adaptive reusing, is implied. We have a school in Warwick, the Aldrich School, that was recently sold to an out-of-state developer who wants to build 75 units of elderly housing. We've made that process easier for him to do.